everyone, welcome back to another workout video. So from now on I will try every single weekend to upload a workout or fitness related video, either me showing you a routine or just explaining different exercises you can do to address certain muscle weaknesses or how to improve like your the specific muscles. Alright, so I'm gonna just try to keep every single weekend, Saturday or Sunday, I'm gonna try to upload these kind of videos. And so today I'm gonna just show you how can you still train at home with no or very little amount of equipment, and now that there is a huge issue of the coronavirus. Now I live in Italy, and Italy has been declared one of the red zones, so where the amount of infected people is very, very high. And so now you can't anymore go to public places outside because everything is shut down and it's closed. And many public areas as well, like the park when I go to train, when I have uploaded some videos from, also has been restrained. So no one can enter, no one can use the bars and all the stuff. And so we're pretty much stuck at being at home, and we can only go outside for certified reasons and only to like go buy some food and stuff like that. So how can you train in this kind of environment where you can't really go to the gym because it's closed, you can't go to like swim, you can't do anything because everything is closed. And yeah, I'm gonna just show you here some very easy and quick exercises that you're gonna need little to almost no equipment at all, and you can do it at home. And yeah, I'm gonna start, I'm gonna cover full body. I'm gonna start from the top area, from the upper body, and then I'm gonna just go down. So yeah, I hope that you guys can enjoy this video, and you can still be able to train despite these hard times with the coronavirus. So let's start very simply by addressing this area, so traps, upper traps and deltoids. So there is a very easy way to train them, that is the pike push-up. Now if you can of course go with something like a handstand push-up when you have pretty much your whole weight on your upper traps and on your deltoids. And it's pretty much an upper press on the gym, but you're doing it with your body weight. If you can't do that, well, there are easier variations. For example, this one right here, that's called the pike push-up. Yeah, depending on your level, you can do it level with the floor. So you have both hands and feet on the floor, and you're gonna just do this. So instead of doing a push-up, so bringing your hands towards your chest, you're actually trying to bring your hands towards your head. So that is the motion that you want to do. So something like this. Alright. And now be careful with the elbows, not flare them out too much, and you're pretty much good to go. Now the lower, so the higher you go with your feet, so your feet are on top of something, like in this case a bed, and you have your feet like this. Alright, and you're doing pike push-ups like this, you're gonna have a lot more of weight to manage than if you're doing on the floor. So you can see that you can adjust, depending on your level and your strength, you can adjust the difficulty of the exercise. This exercise requires no equipment, and it's pretty efficient, and it can really help you out to be able to achieve the handstand. Yeah, so that's pretty much the main exercise to train this upper area. Now, of course, if you want to train a little bit more the deltoids in particular, in specific, and you don't have something like dumbbells or some kind of weight that is easy to grab, it doesn't really matter. You can do it with an elastic band. You can do the lateral raises like this, imagine, with a dumbbell. You can do it with an elastic band. Imagine here I have the elastic band like this, and then from here I'm trying to do a lateral raise with the elastic band that's pulling me down. So it's pretty much the same. Or, if anything, you can just grab a backpack and you can just put inside books, water bottles, anything really that is just gonna just add weights. It's gonna add the weight, and then you can use the backpack as your weight when you're doing the exercise. In this case, I'm showing it, for example, like this. You could be doing this thing with the backpack. So you can really adapt, and you can really use anything you have at home to kind of have some weight and do the lateral raise. And of course, depending on which area of the delt you're going to target, if you're going to go with the front like this, you're going to target more the anterior deltoid. If you're going to go to the side, it's going to be more of a middle delt. Instead, to target the posterior deltoid, unfortunately, it's quite hard to do with a weight. You can still try and activate the rear delt by just like leaning forward, and then when you decide to, you do a lateral raise, but instead of just doing laterally like this, you're trying to do this. So you're gonna also trying to pull it upwards like this, all right? And this is gonna make you activate a little bit more the rear delt if you're gonna train that as well. So that you can see upper traps and delts done very, very efficiently, little to no equipment, or something that you can have at home very, very easily. Now going down, of course, we have the chest in the front part of our body, and for that the best answer is just push-ups. So push-ups is the most common exercise in the world because you can do it anywhere, and you don't need anything other than your body. And of course, depending on your level, you can do push-ups with your knees. So you have your knees yeah, you're just going up and down. Now remember, always push-ups, very, very important. Hands towards the chest, so hands are going towards the face, so it's not this, all right? So you're not going down like this, all right? You're going down like this. So arms are just following the normal pattern, elbows not flaring them out. The closer they are to your body, the better it is. And always arms towards your chest or lower. The lower you go, the more you're going to activate the lower part of the chest. But yeah, definitely just going with hands towards the chest, so not hands up. And of course, if you're just going to do it more advanced, you're going to, instead of being on your knees, you're going to be on top of your toes, right? And that, of course, is harder. You can then place your hands on top of something. So for example, you can do an incline push-up. In this case, for example, imagine this is a bed and you're doing push-ups like this. Or you can do it in the other way around. So you have your hands down and you have your feet on top of something like this, and then you're doing your push-ups. These are all different variations, but at the end of the day, you're going to be training the chest. And yeah, this is the most common exercise. You can do it everywhere. You don't need anything. And yeah, there are just a ton of variations that you can find on internet with both arms at the same time, one arm. And yeah, that is just the best way really to train both chest and also the triceps, because you're always extending and flexing the elbow, so you're also working the triceps at the same time. Now instead, walking and looking at the upper back muscles. Now these are a little harder to train because of the fact that it's pretty hard to use gravity to use them if you don't have like a bar to hang from. And a very common exercise that you can do is called, I don't really know how it's called, but you are pretty much on the ground like this, all right? You have this position when your head is touching the ground, your arms are wide open, and then from here you're trying to, using your elbows, all right? You're trying to push your shoulder blades together and lift up the upper body without using the abs. So you're trying to do something like this. I don't know if you can if you can see it from the camera angle, but it's something like this. Right, so from here I'm now pushing with my arms, and I'm pushing my upper body up, see? And I'm not using the abs to do so. I'm just using the back muscles. It's not really a wide movement, it's a small, but it's gonna activate all those back muscles, upper back muscles that are right there. So posterior delt, the trapezius medius, the rhomboids, all the external rotators, and also a little bit the lats. So you have pretty much an overall upper back training with just this very simple exercise when you're trying to really push your body up using your elbows. So you're trying to do something like this and trying to lift your upper body from the ground. Now if you have anything, again, it can be a dumbbell, it can be an elastic band, it can be a backpack with some weight. You can do a very simple variation to train even more. In this case, it's going to be the lats, teres major, and all those other big muscles. And in this case, it can be like you are in this position and you just try to squeeze, your elbow, trying to not twist your body. You're not twisting, you're really trying to squeeze as much as you can without moving your trunk. So in this way, this is pretty much extension of the shoulder. And yeah, you're using a lot here, all these upper back muscles. So one side, and then you just change side for the other one. And yeah, you can do it with a backpack, you can do it with some dumbbells or some weights if you have, or you can also do it with an elastic band. It's pretty much the same. So again, you just place the elastic band like this, and then from here you're just pulling, and you're doing the exercise like this. So trying not to rotate, squeezing, and then letting go. Yeah, in this case I could do it a little better. Here probably like this, it would be better. So yeah, something like this, really trying to squeeze and push the elbow as far up as you can. Yeah, that's another way to activate the upper back muscles, a little bit more lats and teres major, but yeah, definitely everything is being activated here. And yeah, in this way, without the bar, so without the ability of doing like pull-ups, you can still train the upper back, and yeah, with these very simple exercises. Now continuing on with the arms, in this case, once again, well, biceps and triceps. Now triceps, you can train them as you are doing push-ups. Now if you want to train a little bit more triceps, you can very simply, instead of now going with your hands towards your chest, now you have your hands fixed and you're trying to just leaving your shoulders pretty much fixed, so not moving them. You can see that in the push-up you're moving your shoulders. This is flexion, this is extension. When you're doing tricep exercises, your shoulder is like pretty much standing in the same position. And with this simple variation, you can start doing tricep exercises. For example, the tiger push-up, when you are like this and you just go down like this, all right? And then from here, you just push up, then you go down, you push up, and yeah, in this way, you're applying much more stress into the triceps. You can do it very easily like that, or you can do a little a harder variation, that is the tricep extension, when you pretty much have your body in the air. So it's pretty much this same movement, but you're doing it with your body in the air. And the lower you go, the harder it becomes. So yeah, here unfortunately I cannot really show it to you. I don't have anything, but yeah, just the tricep extensions. Now if you have, of course, an elastic band or like even a weight, for example, imagine here a backpack, you can train a little bit more the long head of the tricep just by doing this exercise. Is called the kickback, when you pretty much have, again, shoulder fixed, elbow this time is fixed, and from here you're just extending the elbow and then back, then extending and then back. So this is just a very simple exercise, again, just for the triceps, to train a little bit more the long head. And yeah, you do it for both sides. Yeah, you can do it with, of course, backpack, weights. You can do it with an elastic band. And the cool thing about the elastic band is not just the fact that you can do this exercise like this, but you can also do the tricep push down. So you can have your elastic band up on something wrapped, and then you just get the elastic band and you just do the tricep push down. So like this, right? So unfortunately here, yeah, again, I don't have anything, but imagine here there is something right up here, and I'm just grabbing the elastic band with both my elbows, and I'm just doing a tricep push down. So something like this. It's pretty much the same. And yeah, that's pretty much triceps done. Instead for biceps, well, I already done a full video about that, and there are just a bunch of exercises that you can do to train your biceps without any equipment. For example, the one can be the planche lean. When you have your elbows extended, you are pretty much in this position, and then you're trying to lean forward as much as you can, keeping your elbows fixed, and then you should really feel, especially the long head of the tricep, of the bicep, you're really activating and yeah, contracting. And yeah, that's just one way how you can do biceps. But of course, again, if you just have a backpack with some weights inside, books, anything, you can just do the basic curls. And yeah, you can remember, you can it's always better to do these curls keeping shoulder inflection. So you start from here and then you do the curls like this. It's always better to train more the biceps. And then you can just change the grip, and in that way you can change from the bicep into the brachialis into the brachioradialis. So just by changing the grip, so supinated grip or intermediate grip or pronated grip, you can just change the focus on which elbow flexor you are training a little bit more. And yeah, this is just a basic curl that yeah, you can do with a lot of stuff. You can do it with an elastic band, with weight, with a backpack, really with even like water bottles or anything. And that's pretty much arms done, upper body done. Next is abs. Well, for abs, there are just a ton of ab exercises around. You can just go on YouTube, you can find out a lot of them. I think in a couple of days I'm going to upload a full video when I'm going to explain to you how to get the six-pack abs, how to really train them in the correct way, and yeah, the best ways that there are to do so. So yeah, classic. Remember just the abs, that you can train them both having the pelvis fixed, and then you bring the trunk towards the pelvis. So that's the first way that the rectus abdominis is going to work. Then the second way is having the trunk fixed, and then you're bringing the pelvis towards the trunk, and that's the second way. So remember that you need to incorporate both movements, so top down movements and bottom up movements. Then remember the obliques, you have to add lateral flexion and rotation to target the obliques. And then remember, as always, the very important transversus abdominis, very deep muscle, very important for the core stability. And yeah, I did also a full video about that muscle. Now, getting now into the lower part of your body, there are the hips. Now, hips, we have all different movements of the hips. We have flexion, extension, abduction, adduction, and rotation. Now, normally rotation is not something that you're gonna really train a lot on your hips. So for now, I'm gonna just exclude that a little bit. Now for abduction and adduction, you can very simply just be standing like this, and now of course it's just better to do it with an elastic band, but yeah, I'm gonna just show it to you because this is like one of my favorite exercises for the abductors of the hip. You pretty much place your elastic band like this, and then you just move one step towards the right side, and then you follow with the other foot. One step towards the left side, and one foot. And then you do two steps. And then you do two steps, and then three. 1, 2, and 3. Then you do 3, then you do 4, and then you go all the way up to 10. So that's a very good way to train the abductors here, the hip muscles that tend to be quite weak and that are also quite important. So remember to train them instead to train a little bit more the adductors. So inside here the thighs, well, there is the lateral lunge slide that is pretty much something like this. So just moving right here, and now in this case you have something that is gonna help you to slide, alright? And now the adductors, when you're gonna train your leg with, is gonna be the leg that is gonna slide. So in this case, you're standing with this leg turned turned outwards, and then here you're just sliding with this leg, and you're trying to apply some weight on this leg. So you don't have all the weight here. You have the weight a little bit mixed between the two legs. You're trying to spread them as much as you can while going down, and then when you are the furthest you can, you're really trying to activate the adductors and really trying to bring this leg closer to the other one. So it's not really that you're pushing with this one up and then this one is following, but is with this one you're really pulling it towards the other one. And yeah, in that way you can train the adductor muscles both in eccentric movement and then concentric. And yeah, these muscles are quite tight, tend to be quite tight normally, so it's always a good thing to do. And that's the hip. Now for flexion and extension of the hip, you have well, for the flexion you're gonna have the classic movement of the leg raise or full leg raise, or yeah, it's pretty much a leg raise. So when you do abs, if all your bottom up movements that you're gonna do, you're gonna also train the flexors of the hip. So yeah, when you do abs, you're gonna train them as well. Instead, for extension of the hips, another muscle that tend to be quite weak is the glutes. So is the major glute. And yeah, the most classic thing that you can do is just the bridge. So you can do it, this is the easiest variation, when you just place yourself like this and you're trying to bring the hips in level with your legs, trying to really start the movement from the abs, so rotating the hips posteriorly, right? So this is anterior pelvic tilt, this is posterior pelvic tilt. So try really to rotate here to touch with your low back the ground. So I'm not doing this, alright? So it's not this, but it's this, alright? Starting the movement from your core. And then here really squeezing the glutes and trying to bring the hips as high as possible, alright? Holding and then down. Then again, up and down. If you wanna challenge a little bit more, you're gonna place yourself, so your upper body, on top of something, and you can place your legs down like this. So from here you're gonna do the same, but this time the range of motion is higher because you start with more flexion. And then from here you just go up. And yeah, it's pretty much again the same, starting the movement by posteriorly tilting the hips and then activating the glutes. You can then place your feet, so you can place your upper back on top of something, and then you can also place your feet on top of something. Imagine here there is a chair, and that is the hardest challenge because you're going to be able to add a lot of flexion in the hips, and then you can really extend a lot, so the range of motion is even larger. And yeah, it's just the most difficult variation. And yeah, that is one of the main easiest exercises that you have to train the glutes. And again here, if you're gonna train a little bit more the gluteus maximus, you're gonna very simply just let your knees drop towards the side, so like this. And then from here you're trying to do the same. So this is gonna allow you to contract a little bit more the maximum glutes. Instead, if you have your knees a little closer to one another, you're gonna be using a little bit more the medius glute and also the hamstrings. And I think that's it, because then of course there are all the different variations for the glutes that you have like the kickback, so the one where from here you're just extending your leg, the one where from here you're trying to lift it up. Now here, remember, it's very important in these exercises, try not to force, because if you force and you end up rotating your hips, it's useless because you're going to end up using not your glutes but other muscles. So try always to do the movement and not rotating the hips. And also not placing yourself in this position when you're really arching here the low back. So try to keep the abs tight so that your low back is neutral, right? And then from here you try to do the exercise. So this is gonna reduce a lot your range of motion, but you're gonna be targeting better the muscles. And yeah, I think that's it for all the glutes and all the hips area. Now here, I didn't say it, but of course you have the classic abduction exercises like this one, for example, when you just open your leg against gravity. And yeah, of course you can do that, and you can also do the glutes by doing just this. So of course this applies to, you can do them also standing and in other positions, it's not just the ones that I showed you. Now going lower, now we find the quads. Now for quads, the most simple way to train them is with squats. You don't need anything, you have your body weight and you just go down and you go up. You can challenge yourself by changing how many legs you use. So if you use just one leg, for example, and you try to control the way down, this is called an eccentric pistol squat. This is going to be a very nice stimulus for the leg that is working. Or you can do it concentrically. So for example, from here you want to go up just using one leg. Or for example, the Bulgarian split squats. So you have your other leg on top of something, and then you go down like this, for example, or like this, or the reverse lunges. So all these variations, when you have, sorry, I didn't show it to you. So a reverse lunge looks like this, instead of forward lunge looks like this. All right, and yeah, all these variations with single legs always work, and they are more difficult to do. And then of course squats, you can just regulate the speed, so you can do them slow. The slower you do the movement, the more demanding will be on your muscles. And you can also do it explosively. Of course, you can do it for every single muscle that I've just covered, but in this, I'm just remembering here some more explosive variations, especially for the squats. So for example, the squat jump, and you can do even the squat jump with the high knees. So when you jump high and you bring your knees towards yourself, and yeah, those variations are pretty normal to do on squats, because then you can like imagine you're jumping onto a bench or onto something. And I think that is just the best thing to do, really. And always remembering, you can just grab a backpack with some weight inside, you can have it, and then you can do the squats. So you can do weighted squats just by doing this very simple change, and you're grabbing something heavy, and yeah, you just do go up and down like that. Instead, for hamstrings, I'm not gonna really do anything too different from the ones I've showed you already. So like hip bridge and the hip thrust, an exercise that already targets a little bit the hamstrings. Now if you're going to target them even more, I recommend you to do these two exercises that are called the diver and the glider, that I've been doing, that are awesome for your hamstrings, especially to prevent any injuries. And in this case, the diver is this exercise when you're standing on one leg and you are just turning all your upper body up like this, pretty much until you are parallel to the ground with your trunk, and the hamstring though is controlling how much you're turning, because if you turn too much you're going to end up falling. So you need to activate this muscle to control how much you are going forward, and then you reset. Then you go down again and you reset. So pretty easy. And then instead the glider, it's a lot more advanced, and but nonetheless I think it's one of the best exercises you can do at all for hamstrings. And in this case the leg that you're going to work is going to be the one in the front, and you're going to just slide backwards with one leg, and you're going to really have all your weight in towards your front leg. Now here, unfortunately I need just some more room. And now from here you really want to slide, really twisting your body over this leg, lifting up the tip of your toes, right? I don't know if you can even see it, but and then you glide down, you glide backwards until you can't take it more. You keep your knee a little flexed during this whole motion, and yeah, the important thing is really pulling, so putting your weight towards the front, so like this. So you don't want to have a lot of weight in your back leg. You want to have weight in your front leg, and you should really feel down here the hamstrings working like crazy. And yeah, you just go. So the movement at the end of the day is something like this. So you glide downwards, then here you reset, and then again. Alright, and then you do like about 10 reps for each side. And yeah, this is just an insane exercise, and it's so good for the hamstrings. And I think that should be it for hamstrings, really, because I can't think at anything you can do at home anymore. Now, just continuing lower, the last portion is like pretty much ankles and so the calves. And so again here, very easy thing to do is just calf raises, right? So going on the tip of your toes, holding them down, and yeah, if you have something just to give you balance, right? You can do it one leg at a time. You can do it 2 legs at a time. If you're going to train more the soleus, you're going to be flexing your knees, and then you're going to do the same movement. So in this way you're training more the soleus. Instead, to train the frontal muscles here on the calf, you're going to instead be able to lift the tip of your toes like this. And yeah, you can do it as well, 1 foot at a time. Yeah, normally the best thing to do is have something to have balance. And yeah, you can do it like this. You can try to walk on your heels as well. It's another very easy thing to do. It's going to train all the muscles here. And yeah, that's pretty much it, because that covers the very last muscles in the lower body. And yeah, those are all exercises you can do at home, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and see ya. Bye bye.